I told y'all, stop saving for them goddamn kids. I got a client example of the illustration I gave in the original video I shot talking about why it's not usually the best idea to take your hard-earned money, efforts, and energy saving cash for your kids when in turn you can set up a great legacy of life insurance in case you pass away prematurely, and then focus on your own finances so you can be that resource / arc for your kids when they get to points in their life where they do need financial resources. So the client that I have originally started with a mother who is a prominent entrepreneur in my city, in the media space, etc. She's done really well for herself, probably late 50s, early 60s, still relatively young in a certain scheme of things, trying to work towards her retirement. I helped her work with another set of clients to sell her business. She did like a seller financing setup to sell her business to a younger couple who was taking over that business. And I was the banker in the transition that helped change the titling and move some things around and et cetera, change access, et cetera. So I met the mother first. After working with her a few times, we had a rocky relationship back and forth, but I have a lot of respect for her ultimately. And, you know, she has a lot that I can learn from her and observe from her. And she still could turn out to be a great client as far as like, you know, giving us more of her business and me being able to earn off of her essentially. But the moral of the story is that's the mother, prominent entrepreneur, done well for herself. She has a couple daughters, one of which who's looking to start a franchise similar to a Smoothie King setup, but it's more of like a tea franchise related. And that daughter is 26, 27, so young, kind of fresh out of those college years, first few years working, etc. Doing pretty well for herself as well. That particular daughter, looking to start that franchise, is taking on a tumultuous journey to get started. And she's trying to come up with as much of the resources herself to qualify for the financing and setup to launch that franchise. She's looking for commercial spaces to lease, trying to get the capital together for the initial setup and operational costs, etc. The mother's looking to back out, you know, sell assets and put herself in a position, put herself in a position where essentially she can start working towards a retirement, like an actual retirement. So she's looking to wind down while the daughter is cranking up. And it's funny because the mother, you can tell, had, you know, and both parents, I'm sure, I didn't meet the father, but I'm sure the dad played a tremendous role as well in setting up a stable environment for their kids and then paving the way by being entrepreneurs and successful individuals themselves, creating an environment where their kids were stable, they were safe, they were well educated, they were able to grow and develop, but not showering them with resources to the point where they didn't have any work ethic. The daughter that I'm working with one-to-one, she works 2 full-time jobs. She's still trying to launch this franchise. She has a lot of work ethic. Her and her sister live in the mom's duplex property that they own. They're still paying a regular rent there, from my understanding, maybe like $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 a month a piece, or like a regular rent. There's not like any crazy, you know, live for free type of situation going on. So they did this balance that I described in the first video. I talked about stop saving for your damn children, where they gave them a great environment, but they focused on their own financial success. And now they're at a stage where the daughters are trying to branch out and do their own thing. One particular daughter I'm working with trying to launch this franchise has great credit, you know, 780 plus already in her early mid to late 20s, you know, great income and low debt, you know, low expenses, relatively speaking. And she's, you know, new financially, you know, she's a young person, so she doesn't have the kind of background credentials, and the franchise isn't operational. So she's having a hard time going to the bank, getting capitals, including the bank I'm working for. And I've helped her look at other banks and CDFIs and other resources to try to get this capital. She just doesn't have the background on her own. The business isn't operational. It's not enough to get, especially in her case, she's looking to get 150 plus in capital, right? So the mother, who really doesn't want to put her hands in the pot anymore with any more endeavors, backed her daughter up recently to getting a commercial lease in a phenomenal space in New Orleans that's going to be kind of in that downtown area. So a great traffic area near 2 major hospitals, not far from the French Quarters, not far from the Superdome, you know, like a great commercial space, and also willing to fork over potentially tens of thousands of dollars to help partly fund her operation and get it off the ground. And this is what I was referring to when I talked about as parents, especially as relatively younger parents. I mean that is if you're like 40 and younger, right? Like if you're 40 and younger and your kids are still like, I don't know, early teens or younger, like you got some years left before they're adults, etc. My message really echoes to that demographic of people. This could apply to anybody, by the way, guardians, whoever, all right? And if you're older than the 40 range, it still could apply to you, but it specifically goes to the younger parents who have a lot of working years still in front of them. A lot of us come from little to nothing ourselves, and we have this burden on our shoulders to try to overcompensate with our kids with like saving big lump sums of cash for them and like, oh, when they make 18, I'm gonna give them this, I'm gonna buy them that. Listen, I understand the urge to leave a financial legacy, but what I'm giving you is a client example where a mother was able to step in, even with trying to pull away from all these different endeavors. She still was able to have the resources, the experience, the knowledge to guide her daughter into establishing these banking relationships, get bankers and bank relationships surrounded around her, business mentorships, provide capital injections, and still co-sign on a few things to help her get access to a commercial lease in a phenomenal spot. And the potentially co-signing on additional capital access from other financial institutions. This is while providing shelter for the child and everything else, right? Like this is absolutely a prime example of somebody who did great with their kids, but focused on their own careers, did well enough for themselves, where they were able to do great for themselves and still turn around and be that bridge for their kids. They didn't pass away prematurely. They didn't become disabled prematurely. So now they were able to work out a full legacy of a successful entrepreneurship, probably a 7, maybe even potentially 8-figure net worth, and are in a position where they have pristine credit, great background, great connections, great resources, and now can be that for their kids without robbing them of work ethic, without robbing them of going out with their own experiences, because the daughter's meeting with me and building on her own. I actually got her approved for a $20,000 business credit card at my financial institution today at the time of this recording. I helped her increase her credit limits on her existing personals. I helped her stage, how to document and report her income. So I did my part. She's meeting with me and growing one-to-one. But her mother's like right there in the background, able to provide this great experience and these great resources and guidance for her without stripping her of trying to figure it out on her own at the same time. And that's really what I'm promoting at the end of the day. Like, she got $20,000 just from the institution I'm working for in a business credit card because she had great credit, stable income, low expenses, and just everything else that she has going for. I don't know what she finished school for, but she finished college at LSU at a quality university, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She's going to be, if she can keep the pace, and you can tell by the demeanor of this person, right? This young lady is just really conservative, respectful, mild tone, like doesn't dress the way a lot of 26, 27-year-old young girls that and she's an attractive young lady on top of that. So it's like she could be living a totally different lifestyle. You can tell her parents did a great job with her, and she took that in. And if she keeps up the pace she's going, even in the next 5 to 7 years, we're talking 30 to 32, early 30s, she could be a millionaire or at least have $1 million business operation. This one franchise she's trying to run right now is looking like conservatively going to have revenues of 650. Like she's not going to get to keep most of that. But at the end of the day, like just to be stepping out and being in control of something, doing those kind of numbers. Most people don't save 650 towards retirement after 30 or 40 years of working. She's going to step out in her late 20s and be operating a $600,000+ revenue business and probably scaling it if she can get her feet right and get the right staff under her, etc., and do really well that early in life. That is the value of not focusing on diverting all these resources, energy, and effort to your kids and cash and all these other little savings mechanisms. Build yourself up. Make sure your kids have a great foundational environment, good education, access to resources, extracurriculars to develop character, and get your shit together. Like, get your shit together. When your kids get to that point, if you pass away prematurely, as I keep saying, you have life insurance in place. You may have other assets in place that you can pass along to them. You have your estate affairs in order. If you pass it along prematurely, they're in their whatever age, you leave them all that money. And hopefully whoever's over them, watching them guardianship, does the right thing and looks out for those kids, and those kids are able to take that on and build the legacy. But you ain't gonna be here one way or another. You did your big one. You did what you could do. If you're still here, then the best and most valuable thing you can do is be that pillar for your kids to build their own lives and legacies. Not just hand them off cash and, oh man, I did my thing. I gave them 15, 20, 50, $100,000 in cash at 18, 20, 21. That's not doing it. I promise you you're not going to accomplish what you think you're going to accomplish. So I just wanted to give this scenario of kind of like a recap of my day in that capacity. That was some money I made. That business credit card will be a quick $75 whenever she activates it and gets it in a couple weeks. And I'm developing more importantly, a great client relationship with low-key a family, to be honest, a low-key little family dynasty. But the mom and I have a pretty decent rapport. I'm still earning her trust and trying to meet that expectation because she has high ones. She's been dealing with people in my craft for 30 years in her entrepreneurial journey. And I know I'm unique, but I'm still learning. I'm in my 30s. So she's been basically doing business as long as I've been alive. And her daughter, who's closer in my age bracket, and, I'm closer to her in the journey, building that rapport with her, building that trust. She's leaning on me for a lot of things. I'm so grateful to have the knowledge and the experience I have to actually be a resource in these different ways and not just be the banker or the teller that you come in, do your basic transactions and walk out. I'm really helping her make sense of a lot of numbers, get access to capital, structure her finances, get ready to launch this significant scale business. And so I just want to pass this along as a client interaction, but also to back up what I explained. Yo, this is a phenomenal example of get yours in order, build your legacy. Your kids will need you more than they're going to need the money. Have your head on straight, focus on your health, focus on your money, and be able to be that live, active insight, resource, wisdom, and guidance for your kids as they grow up and start to branch out and create a legacy of their own. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think about the concept of how you either already save for your kids if you're further along in that journey. If you're younger, how your plan and your structure is around how you plan to save or be there for your kids. Let me know your perspective on this and how you plan to be that pillar, that rock for your kids. Do you believe in saving cash for them? Comment down below. Let me know what you think about the commission earnings, because this is another day where I at least did $75 on top of everything else. Probably got more than that going on, but that was for sure one that was stamped for today, which is January 16th, the time of this recording. So comment down below. Other than that, as always, to all my pioneers, welcome back. To my new viewers, welcome in. I want each and every one of you to stay focused, stay in motion. I'll see y'all soon.